This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's great to have you here. We're sitting with a herd of elephants off in the thicket because it's a chilly, windy, dreary day here. And they are doing exactly what I want to do and keep warm. So everyone, get ready. It's that time of day for your live safari through the African bush.
Good afternoon and welcome. I am lying here in the grass because it's miserably cold out here and blustery, and I have got the idea from a very special character here called Fernando the Chameleon. He has been called Fernando, not by me, but by Trishala, who's another one of my colleagues who managed to find Fernando, and then Theo, who's on camera today, pointed him out to me. My name is James Henry, and it's a great pleasure to be with you on safari, live, of course, from the African wilderness. During the course of the afternoon, please do talk to us. You can do that using the hashtag WildEarth on Twitter. Otherwise, if you're a youngster, you can send us an email to kidsquestions@wildearth.tv. That's kidsquestions@wildearth.tv. So this is a flat-necked chameleon, and he is brilliantly well hidden down there. But interestingly, his color is not necessarily about camouflage. It's also to do with signaling his emotional state. And if you watch him very carefully, he'll be getting duller and then slightly brighter, and then duller and then slightly brighter, and that's often indicating some kind of stress. And if there was another chameleon around that he wanted to mate with, well, then there'd probably be all sorts of other changing colors. So if I was to pick him up and put him on my very fancy shorts, he wouldn't change color and become like my very fancy shorts. He would just simply stay the same, or probably go darker because of the stress that he was under. A wonderful way to start the day, and I tell you what, sitting in a place like he's sitting now is the best place to be on a slightly miserable afternoon. But miserable it might be weather-wise, hopefully it won't be so animal-wise. We're going to go down towards the south and see if we can find ourselves a leopard, and hopefully that will bear some fruit. Good. Nice to have you with us.
Good afternoon to all of our viewers, and welcome to andBeyond Ngala, where we have 2 lions this afternoon. Now, it looks like 2 lions that we haven't seen in a long time. I am Yapi, and behind the camera we have Owen, and I think this afternoon we're gonna stick with these 2 lions for now. Now, it's an old lioness off to the right hand side, and then the young male off to the left hand side. They are a part of the pride of lions that we were looking for this morning, the Birmingham Pride, but we haven't seen these 2 in about 3 days. So where exactly they've been, I do not know. I do know that both of them have had quite bad limps the last time we saw them, and it looks like the young male is still suffering from his injury, which I'm sure will be a longer lasting, maybe more permanent one. The female, on the other hand, she has actually recovered quite a bit, and she's looking quite a bit better than the last time we saw her. Now, yesterday in this exact spot where they are at the moment, we had the rest of the pride, and I think these 2 came here to come and look for them. You can see she's picked up her head now. He's gone back down. The wind's blowing a little bit more severely than it did earlier. But I think myself and Owen's going to stay with him for this afternoon to see where they go.
Oh, you are so big and strong. Yes. We're just being told by this little calf that it's big and strong. So I'm just agreeing with it to make it feel a little bit better. I love it when the calves do that. They learn it from the adults. My name is Lauren. I do have BK on camera today, and we've been with this herd quite some time now. So they're very relaxed around us, and they're slowly moving off into the thicket now. It's a lot warmer and sort of, well, less windy when you're in a block, when you're in a thicket, than when you're exposed in open clearings or roads. That's exactly why they're here. They're feeding, but it just keeps them sheltered from the wind. It's been overcast all day today, and it's really not warm, which is why I'm all wrapped up. You can see most of the elephants have got their ears flat against their head. They're not really flapping, not like they normally do. And that's actually to retain the heat, to prevent the heat being lost through the ears. They want to keep the heat in to ensure that they stay warm on days like this. But normally they're flapping on really hot days to try and lose that heat that builds up in their body because they can't sweat. Oh, I've just made a friend, everyone. I don't know if you want to have a little look. I'm not sure what this is, but it's just jumped on my hand. Yes, that baby elephant is so cute. What are you? Are you a praying mantis? Let's get closer. BK can get us closer. Oh, hello. It's not often we see a lot of insects around in winter, especially on cold days like this. I think it's a praying mantis. Getting ready to battle with those 4 limbs up, like they're ready to box. Yes, it is. It's a praying mantis. How lovely. It's a juvenile. One of my favourite insects. Hopefully this little one will stay with us. So we're going to try our best to catch up with these elephants. Hopefully they don't go too far into the block.
So from a cute baby elephant to probably the largest elephant in the area at the moment, here we are with Kumo, the elephant bull that we've come to know very well. Very calm, very relaxed, very massive elephant bull who's dwarfed by this very huge Balanites tree here at Pride Conservancy. My name is Mike. Behind the camera we've got Gert, and as I said, you're joining us here with Eco Training's Pride Conservancy, and we are sitting in a lower area to try and shelter ourselves a little bit from the wind. Not working, however, but we have found these elephants, which is fantastic. It's good to see some animals. This morning we struggled to find too many animals. They were all hiding away, but these few elephant bulls we know quite well. They are Kumo, the big elephant bull moving there. We know him because he used to have a collar. And then an elephant who's got a very pronounced limp. So this elephant, we've affectionately named Ivar, but others know him as Limpy Lou. He's an awesome elephant. He was actually doing something very strange a little bit earlier. He actually went to sleep. He lay down very close to our vehicle and lay down flat on his side to have a sleep. I don't know whether he was just tired of the wind or whether that leg was giving him a bit of hassles in this cold weather, but he lay flat down on the ground, which we all thought was very strange because it must be difficult for him to get up with a short leg like that. But he actually got up very quickly, which was good to see. Obviously the leg is not holding him back too much, which is good to know. So these elephant bulls are slowly moving towards Ndlovu Dam, close to the Eco Training Camp, and we'll be following them. Just in a moment as we wait. There's a third elephant with them as well. Not sure where he's gone, but he's probably there with them somewhere amongst these stark sickle bushes.
elephants. I'm just going to let you all who are watching on the internet just enjoy the sounds of the elephants around us. What is this one doing? Sorry, we need to look. We've managed to catch up with the herd. Well, at least the stragglers. And if you have any questions, don't forget to send them through, because we're here to answer them. This is your live safari. And it often amazes me when I watch elephants walk together, because they're actually all following the lead of the matriarch. It's a matriarchal society, and it's really, really important that everyone follows her lead. The matriarch is normally the oldest elephant who has the broadest cultural knowledge, and she leads the herd. She'll have knowledge on migratory routes, leading them to traditional sources of food and water that don't change throughout the year, and basically teach them how to be an elephant. Female elephants practice allo-mothering, almost like nannying or babysitting, so it's very much a female society. But elephants aren't the only ones with a matriarch. Other species have matriarchal societies, such as spotted hyenas, meerkats, bonobos, and even orcas. Yes, orcas, previously known as killer whales, but that name's been scrapped because it has negative connotations. They're not killers, and we call them orcas now. They also have a matriarchal society. But elephants is probably the most well-known and most extensively studied society. And I think we need to go around and catch up with them. But I just want to let you all know, I've still got my passenger. I'm going to call this praying mantis Buddy. Kathy, great question. You're asking about a male leader. I don't believe so, not that I know. It's a strict matriarchal society, and the matriarch is everything to the survival of elephants. They wouldn't survive without her, and not all elephants are equipped. Oh my goodness, we've got a massive roadblock. Look at this. Not all elephants are equipped to be the matriarch. Some females fail. Some females will never be the matriarch, and males live a more nomadic life. They're ousted from the herd when they become a bit too boisterous as a teenager. Hello, I see you. And they never lead. They haven't been taught to lead. They haven't grown up that way to learn from the matriarch herself in order to have the ability to lead the herd. So I really don't believe that would happen. I've never heard of that happening. I don't know why everyone's creating this huge roadblock up ahead. Let's take a look, BK. There's a lot of big grey bottoms blocking the road. So since the road is blocked, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to sit tight and watch these elephants.
Good afternoon from a somewhat blustery day at Tswalu Kalahari. The wind has been gusting the whole afternoon and it doesn't seem to be letting up. But anyway, Davy, our cameraman, who is doing a fantastic job at portraying this incredible landscape, is with us, and my name is Dylan, and it is brilliant having you join us on this live safari. I've got something in mind for this afternoon. I don't know how well it's going to work, but I'm going to give it my best shot. We have located a leopard kill fairly close by to where we are here. Whether we actually see the leopard is a completely different story, but we're certainly going to give it our best. It is going to take a bit of patience, a bit of time to get it right, and it is going to entail sitting in one spot for quite a long period of time. Interestingly, as we were approaching, there was a brown hyena at the kill site. Very, very relaxed. He just slowly ambered off into the hills, and so I think if we just sit it out this afternoon, we might get very, very lucky.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to andBeyond Phinda Private Game Reserve. My name's Jared. We've got Marcel behind the camera. I thought today, let's get off the vehicle. I don't get off the vehicle enough, and we've got some very interesting tracks and signs here. So you may have seen earlier, we were just busy filming on this little line going through here, this little bit of a wiggle going along here. Now, this could be one of a few things. Now, it could be a leopard dragging its kill down the road. It is quite wide, so it could be a rhino. Often white rhinos, when they walk, they drag their lip. It could be a big snake. It could be a massive snake, I reckon, quite a big python. But it is neither of those. It is, in fact, from an elephant. And I do know that. I can see the tracks of an elephant going down like this, straight down the middle. I'll show you the tracks now. But also just the way that it's winding. It wouldn't have been either the python, a rhino. Rhinos is more straight. And it wouldn't be a leopard kill, because the leopard kill would also be quite straight. Sometimes you see a little bit of a wiggle, and that's more the legs or whatever they're busy dangling. But there's some very interesting things happening here with the track. Is you can actually see in the trunk, you can see the hair of the tips of the trunk that are going through over here. And then over here we've got the track. Now, often when an elephant bull is dragging his trunk like this, it means that he's in must. It's not always the case, but it means that he's in must. Something else that we know, that when an elephant bull is in must, they also dribble urine. So what we want to look for is any dribble marks. Now, it has been very windy, so it's quite tough to tell whether these tracks are fresh or old. I do think that these tracks are fresh, so I don't see any other animals' tracks over these tracks. But I do actually see some dribble marks right over here. I can see some dribble marks. So that's the urine that this elephant bull is busy dribbling while he's walking along. And I mean, this is the size of the track over here. So it's quite wide, over a foot wide, and probably about 1.5 feet long. So this is a very big elephant bull. And he's probably a middle-aged elephant bull. What you will notice is once an elephant gets quite old, at the bottom of an elephant's foot, which is like one big callus, will almost looks like finger marks or fingerprints. And over time and over age, those fingerprints tend to wear down, and then you don't see this mosaic print through their tracks.
Just been watching the youngsters jump on top of one another. They're very playful. Elephants in general are really playful. They say that most animals in the entire animal kingdom play, and they play for fun. Yes, it's great exercise and social bonding, develops the muscles, allows them to use all that stored up energy, especially the youngsters. But at the end of the day, fun is fun. Hannah, you're 4 years old. It's so great to hear from you, and you are asking how big are elephants when they're born. Elephant calves, much smaller than this one that you can see right here, can weigh 100 kilograms when they're born. 100 kilograms, that's very, very big. And they're really not tall. They're not even a meter tall. They're very, very small. But with elephants, they grow quickly. As do most animals, they grow very, very quickly and they no longer look little anymore. But 100 kilograms is a heavy baby. And it takes the mum 22 months, Hannah, before she gives birth. She keeps the calf in her tummy for 22 months. That's a very long time. It's almost 2 years. So the baby calves are very well developed when mum gives birth to them. And she will only give birth to one calf at a time because they're so large. Sometimes they can have twins. We've actually seen some elephant twins around here, but that's not the norm. That's a rare occasion to see elephant twins. Can you imagine? Mummy elephant carrying two at the one time. That's a lot of work. Okay, they are all moving off, but we're just going to watch them. They're very relaxed considering the weather. Normally elephants get a little bit antsy when it's overcast and windy. They're quite reactive, and they don't like the wind. I don't like the wind, but they really don't like the wind because they rely heavily on their hearing, and it really affects their hearing. They can still hear, but they can't really determine direction as well, and that's why they don't like it. Oh, what a wonderful large breeding herd. We are going to move in just a second and try and get round and catch up with them all because they're in a nice open clearing. So off we go to catch up with the Ellies.
Hello again, everyone. We're sitting here with a hyena. Now, this hyena has got blood upon its paws, and that is because it stole the duiker that Thandi killed this morning with Lauren. And Lauren came back here middle of the day to see what was going on, and she couldn't find any sign of Thandi or the duiker. What she did find is this hyena. Anyway, so the hyena is here. And there are a few other people looking around here for Thandi or some sign of her. And we might be lucky. She could be in this area or she could have moved on. Thandi, a leopardess, of course, our favourite leopardess. And we shall explain that all again when we go back to TV in 40 seconds 40. We're sitting here with a hyena, and this hyena has got blood all over its face and front paws, you can see there. Now that is because this is a thieving hyena, which of course most hyenas are, and this hyena thieved a meal from Thandi the leopardess this morning. Lauren managed to see Thandi the leopardess killing a duiker, and unfortunately for Thandi the leopardess, the tree into which she dragged the duiker was not a tree that was able to sustain her and the kill, and I think she must have dropped the kill sometime during the course of the morning, and this hyena then made short work of it. So as you can see, very satisfied hyena, and somewhere around here is a very dissatisfied leopard. And we shall continue the search for her once we've enjoyed the sighting of a beautiful hyena. So although hyenas do steal, they do hunt, not so much in this part of the world, but in the Masai Mara right now, where the migration is in full stride, I suppose, full thundering stride, the hyenas there are doing a lot of hunting and not nearly as much scavenging as they would in this part of the world. A very satisfied animal. Hello, Kruger Cougar. You're wondering why animals don't laugh. Well, I mean, if there is an animal that laughs, I guess you're looking at it. They do make a laughing type of a sound. I'm not sure that they don't laugh. I suspect that the action of laughing is a human way of expressing enjoyment, and I suspect that it's probably a fairly complicated way of showing other human beings that you are genuinely amused, so that you are not threatening in any way. Remember that human beings have got social interactions with each other far more complex than any animal we know of. And I think because we're so good at lying to one another, we're so good at deceiving one another, laughing, genuine laughter, is a way of showing that your enjoyment of another person or a story or something like that is absolutely genuine, and that there's no subterfuge, there's no threat. I suspect it's got something to do with that. It also is obviously very healthy for us to laugh and releases all sorts of hormones that make us feel good. It's a really interesting question. Now you see that hyena's eyes just opened there, and that's because there's a francolin calling behind us, and what we'll do is go and check out why that francolin is shouting.
So I love it when a bit of a tracking mission comes together. So as I thought, those tracks were much fresher than what they looked, and we could see the direction that the tracks were heading to, and I know that there's a waterhole just up ahead, and that is in the direction that the tracks were heading to. And you'll also notice, if you see, he's a bit two-toned at the moment. So he's quite light on his upper body, and then halfway down his rear end to his legs is quite wet. So I think that this male's already been to the waterhole and probably walked into the middle, judging by the way the water is, and maybe even sat down a little bit. And then he's got quite a lot of sand on his body, so he's come out and sprayed a bit of sand all over his body. Julian, age 5, you are asking, why do elephants have such wrinkly skin? Julian, I must be honest, I am not sure at all why elephants have wrinkly skins. I've actually never... Clever question, Julian, and it's quite crazy that I've looked at elephants so many times and yet never pondered why an elephant has such wrinkly skins. What they do have is very hairy skin, and you won't believe it. When you look at their skin, you'd be quite surprised how much hair they have on their skin. And as I mentioned earlier, if you're with me when you're watching Julian, while that elephant's trunk, you could see where he's dragged on the ground, you could see all his hair marks that had busy dragged on the ground. And we do know that this is the same elephant that we saw earlier, because we could see that he is in must. So he has been dribbling urine on the back of his legs, so we know that this is the same elephant that was in must.
We're still with our elephants. We're following them. There's a huge herd. Really, really large herd. Once an elephant herd gets too big, they actually split because it becomes unsustainable. Not everyone can get guidance, not everyone can be looked after, and they end up splitting into kinship groups. That's what they call them. So it's two separate herds. A new matriarch will arise, So each herd will have a matriarch, but they'll be related and they'll completely remain in contact with one another. They will actually really enjoy spending time with one another. But at the end of the day, they will split into their separate herds. Once a herd gets too big, too many mouths to feed, too many elephants to control, too many youngsters to scold, young elephants can be very naughty. Now there's forked-tailed durongos, I'm going to try and find you one in just a moment, everywhere. Fantastic birds. This shows such a high level of cognitive ability. And they follow the elephants to try and get some delicious insects that may have been stirred up. I think we're just going to go forward a little bit. David, that's a great question, because I've witnessed twice in my career matriarchal overthrows in spotted hyenas only, where a low ranker has overthrown the matriarch and became the matriarch herself. I don't believe that's common in elephants. But I have actually heard in Amboseli, they study elephants extensively there. There has been records of elephants sort of, not ganging up, that's not the right word, but collectively coming together to tell a matriarch she's not doing a very good job. There's a lot involved in being a matriarch, more than meets the eye. So yes, maybe not a matriarchal overthrow as such, but yes, absolutely, a new female can come and take over, but it's not common. It's not common practice in elephants, because normally the matriarch has trained her whole life to be the matriarch. So she's more than like... Can you hear that? Hello, Mama. I see you. It's a big female. Producing milk. There was a rumble there. I don't quite know what it means in elephant language, but everybody's coming together. Do you see this? They're all running. It was a signal from someone. Everyone grouped together. Wow, that was amazing. A vocalization from someone, possibly the matriarch. The matriarch's not always the biggest elephant. Most of the time she is. She's the oldest, yes. But it's not easy to pinpoint the matriarch by just looking like this. You actually need to spend time observing the herd before you can understand who is the female that they're all responding to. Who's the leader of the herd? And then you can pinpoint the matriarch. It's not always the biggest one. That's a mistake to think that it's the biggest female. But I think that was an adult giving a signal for everyone to group a little bit tighter. Maybe they got a scent in their nostrils of a predator nearby, or they heard something that our human ears can't hear. Elephants are communicating constantly through body language, posturing, and vocalizations. Many of the vocalizations we can't even hear. It's completely out with the human hearing range. And they do this to constantly remain in contact and allow the herd to stay together. It's incredible. They could be communicating right now and we don't hear it. So we're definitely going to keep up with this herd. They're walking along the road, which is ideal for us. We're just going to reposition, get this sighting all to yourselves. I'll let you enjoy every minute with these elephants. We just need to get into position. They've covered a lost citrus swallowtail. It's been a long time since I've seen one of those. Okay, let me just get the perfect position. Look at that. keep just tailing really slowly. I see you. I know. You've got something hanging from your mouth. It's a youngster. This cheeky teenager's doing a bit of a catwalk for us. You see all the starlings in the background? There's Bircho starlings everywhere, hoping for a little scrap of something from the elephants. Not scared that they get trampled on. You see them? This is a huge conga line of elephants. I think there's about 30 elephants here, if not more. And we always give the animals space, so we just let them go ahead. They know we're here. They can hear us. They've seen us. Oh, that was good timing, BK. Okay, I think we're just going to go forward a little bit so we don't lose touch with them. I want them to always know that the vehicle's here. Ashton, really good question. Essentially, no, they're not dangerous, but you must respect them as you must respect any wild animal, even domesticated animals. If your dog at home's not happy, your dog's going to tell you they're not happy. If they're feeling grumpy, they might go and show some teeth. Any animal's boundaries must be respected. So my job is to make sure that I can read the animals. I can keep my eye on them at all times, which is why I'm not looking back at you guys. And if they show me any signal that they're not happy, or they're slightly distressed, or maybe they're just feeling a little bit grumpy, then it's my job to let them be and walk away. We get trained very well out here to read the animals. So you don't want to walk into an upset elephant, Ashton. You, of course, just respect all the animals. You don't get too close. We don't feed them. We don't touch them. Even things like the wind, we always check the wind direction, especially when on foot. We actually walk with elephants on foot quite a lot when we're doing bushwalk. It's really important that you know what direction the wind is going so that your scent will always be downwind. You don't want to startle an animal. But here, this herd, we've been with this herd for about 40 minutes now. They know we're here. They can hear my voice. They can smell the car. But yes, Ashton, they technically could be dangerous if we put if we made a mistake. But all round, no. So on that note, we're going to try and keep up with this incredible herd.
So I know with Lauren you were talking about elephant matriarchs, and these elephants that we found here are all bulls. Now, bulls don't usually form part of the herds where the matriarchs, the females, are dominant. They usually walk around in groups on their own with other young bulls, and these are trailing behind the large bull that we saw earlier, quite a bit further behind, but they can communicate over huge distances. And these young bulls will slowly over time grow in size and stature, and when they're big enough they will be able to compete for dominance of herds of females and mating rights. So they're not really leading the group just yet. These young elephant bulls are just learning from the large bull that we know as Kumo, as he leads them through the early part of their life. Remember, elephants can live a very long time, in some places over 65 years, so it's a long time to gain information. These elephants are probably not much more than about 20. That's a great question, Rosalind. I'm not sure how old Kumo is. I know that he was being followed by the researchers in the area. So what I'll do for you, Rosalind, is I will get that information as soon as I can. But I think if I look at him and estimate the size of that elephant, I would say he's probably over 40 years old. But I have been known to be wrong about that. There was another elephant on a reserve I used to work at, which I thought must be well into his late 40s from his sheer size. And I was told later on that this elephant was only in his mid-30s. So I guess it's also genetic, determining the size of elephants. But I will be able to find out with relative certainty how old Kumo is. He is definitely a massive elephant. This elephant in front of us now, I don't think is much into his 20s, if that. So Kumo is far larger than this one, although this one's already got quite decent-sized tusks, if not very wide and heavy. Tusks are also largely determined by genetics. I just heard a bit of a low rumble, and so we might find that this young elephant bull starts to move off in the direction of the larger bulls that are just ahead. At the moment they're just feeding. It's a cold day, so normally at this time of day we would have seen elephants drink a couple of times, but because it's so cold, they're not really drinking that much. The question is, that has just come through now, is how vigilant are elephants? And that is also a really, really cool question. It all depends on Teboho was asking that question. Okay, so Teboho, elephants are vigilant when they need to be. I mean, they're always listening. They've got massive ears and they've got this trunk which is always smelling. Haven't got great eyesight, unfortunately, but their other senses more than make up for it. And they're vigilant when they need to be. So let's say this big group of males here, they don't need to be overly vigilant. There's nothing that really threatens them. However, herds with females, especially with young calves, will be very vigilant, and they will often hear something, or something will disturb them, or even get a smell of something, and you'll see them quickly trumpet or rumble, and all of them will gather up in the middle with the smallest babies in the middle and the largest females all around the outside. So when they need to be, they can be very, very vigilant. I think Lauren was also talking about if you're on a bushwalk with elephants, where you'd like to be with the wind. Absolutely important to stay. Oh, there's a tiny little spider that's just jumped onto my finger. That's very cool. He's such a colorful little spider. I don't know if you'll be able to see that there, Gert. It's a little jumping spider, and it was just on the steering wheel, and he just hopped right onto my finger. Hello, little spider. So this is a jumping spider of some sort. I don't know what exactly species this is, but very, very cute. Watch this. If I move my finger here, it might jump onto my other finger. They often do. Oh, it's a bit cold. It doesn't want to. Oh, wait. I think it might. Come on. See how it's looking at my finger? See how it's moving around? Oh, it jumped but missed. But what's amazing about jumping spiders, it's still there, is that they attach a little jumping rope to their abdomen as they jump. So when they jump, if they miss the jump, like this one just did, it won't fall. Oh, you see it tried again. It fell again. This is not a very clever jumping spider. Ah, oh, they made it. Do you see that? That's so cool. So they attach a little line so that if they jump and they miss, they won't fall to the ground. They'll just hang, and then they'll be able to work themselves back up. It's tiny. This is the tiniest little spider I've ever seen. And this is probably a nymph of a small, well, I don't really know if they call them nymphs, but they'll shed their skin a number of times and get larger. Although this might be a species which doesn't get much larger. But isn't that amazing, hey? Oh, what are you looking for, little spider? What are you looking for? There's no bugs on me. Very cute little spider. Come over here. Come over here. Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, so we were talking about elephants, but sometimes the small things like this just catch our attention. We very rarely get to look at these tiny little creatures, and it's so awesome that now there's one just performing for us. So there are many spiders. They're not very active at this time of year because it's very, very cold. So this is quite interesting to see this spider active. Maybe it was blowing so much wind that it's actually been blown off of its tree wherever it was. And it's probably now looking for a new place to rest, because there's not much food for them. There's not many insects moving around. And this tiny little spider will have to eat things like mosquitoes in order to survive. Liz, it is a cute little dude. Or... oh man, I wish I could get closer to it. Gert, if I come closer, will we be able to get even... no, we can't get much closer, can we? Like in terms of, like, to get more of the detail. I'd love to be able to show you how big and massive their eyes are. They've got huge eyes in comparison to their body. So they've only got two body parts. They've got an abdomen and a cephalothorax. And they've got huge eyes that really allows them to be able to see very clearly in binocular vision. So they've got these two massive eyes that allow them to see forward and judge distances really, really well. Come on over here. Come on, you can make it. Don't be shy. This is the coolest little thing. I actually want to keep this spider. He'll be my mascot now. We'll keep him somewhere on the vehicle. He'll keep away the mosquitoes in the summer. We'll keep you nice and safe. So yeah, sometimes these small little things catch our attention, and it's good to focus on them because we never get to see them. This is the kind of stuff that you'd only really see on a bushwalk. It's very rare that these little creatures come and join us on the car. Oh, it's looking at my finger. It's going to jump again. Come on, little guy. You can do it. Spiders are not scary. Everyone thinks spiders are super scary, but when you see a tiny cute spider like this, I don't know what you all think at home, but I think this is the coolest little cute spider I've ever seen. You can stick around anytime. Oh, so cute.
Look at this magnificent little covey of crested francolins. Oh, one of them just yawned. Isn't it beautiful? Now, one of them was letting off a bit of an alarm call when we arrived here. And so we were hoping that maybe Tundi was around. She might be. We'll just sit here for a second. We'll introduce our TV audience to this covey of crested francolins. Although if they hang around until TV, I'll be relatively astounded. Look at the colours. I just think they're amazing. Looks like all sorts of delicious flavours of chocolate. Caramel, dark chocolate, milk chocolate, white chocolate. Top deck chocolate. I think that maybe should become a new thing. Chocolate francolins for Easter instead of chocolate bunnies. Not sure that's going to catch on. Yeah, now we've got 30 seconds to TV, and so what they're going to do is all walk behind a bush just in time. 20 seconds, 20, there's another one about to come across the road. There we are, well spotted, Theo. Here we are sitting with a covey of crested francolins, and they are looking for seeds, buds on the ends of the plants, and the odd insect as well. And I just think, although if you looked at them quickly you'd think what a dull bird, if you look at them carefully and closely you'll see some amazing colours on them. Copper, rich brown, honey, gold, bit of grey, and some red on the legs, of course. Tracy, I don't know which season is my favourite. You know, they're all so different and they all have their advantages. The season we're going into now is the driest season, but that means that the animals are concentrated around the water, so game viewing is generally pretty good this time of the year, between now and November. So I really like this time of year, but I like all times of year. They all have their advantages and one or two disadvantages, almost always outweighed by the advantages. And in the background, you can hear another francolin species, and that is the coqui francolin. Now he's an amazing bird. I'll quickly show you a picture of him. He looks like his head's been dipped in gold. If I can find him, which I think I can. There you go. That's him there, Theo. See, looks like his head's been dipped in gold. That's the male. The female don't look quite the same.
And luckily for us, Adam and Thomas has managed to find the rest of the lions. Now, as the crow flies, they're not too far, maybe about 2 kilometers away from where the others are, in a similar area just on the other side of the dry riverbed. And you can see over here pretty much a similar thing is happening to what we saw with the other two. They're laying in the tall grass and they all look like they're sleeping. If I look carefully, I can see 1 or 2 bellies that's bulging. Maybe they had something to eat during the night, but it doesn't look like anything large. You can see, except for that white one, ooh, there's one rolling around, a leg stretch, and one just put a head up as well. That one's even put a paw over the other one. That one looks quite uncomfortable. I find it quite funny how on a day like today it makes sense to lay close to each other, but even on the hot days the lions will spend time laying right next to each other. You can see there's the male. Liz, Maddie and Bib. In this pride at the moment there are 18 lions, which is quite a lot, and that includes these 2 males, this male and his brother as well, which is also here, but he's hidden in tall grass at the moment. And then with the 2 newest additions, which is the small cubs that I don't see here at the moment. There's the other male. So 18 lions, that is a massive pride of lions with a lot of bellies to feed. And that's why these lions, especially this time of the year, are moving around so much during the evenings. They need to constantly keep hunting, constantly need to feed these younger ones especially, whose appetites are growing by the day, just as they are growing in size. And then with the 2 males with them as well, that means they need to eat even more. See, there's one licking herself. Bit of grooming going on. Now on a cool afternoon like this, we often notice that they start getting active a little bit earlier than usual. And now that the sun's come out, you might actually have them flop back down and warm up, since it was such a cool day. Now, at the moment I don't think much is going to change. Myself and Owen will keep sitting here and see what happens next.
Okay, so in this landscape, what we've got over here, this tree straight ahead of the vehicle over here, that's where the kill is. It's pretty obscure from where we're sitting, but we've got a very good reason for that. Is we've been seeing there's been a lot of brown hyena activity actually feeding from the other side of the tree. So if we were to position out to the left or the right, we probably actually wouldn't see the animals properly. They'd be obscured by the main stem of the tree. If you can maybe just go down a little bit, David, you'll actually just see that big part of the stem over there. So we'd actually, if we moved across to the left or the right, we'd actually be obscured over there, because further down to the right we've got some big bushes. So I think we've got a good line over here. This is
We have arrived to the hyena den, everyone, and there's no adults, so we're going to have to leave, but we just wanted to show you that everyone is alive and well. We were slightly concerned as there was a leopard, a male leopard called Mulwati in the area just the other day. So quickest glimpse of Ngwazi, Shimbulu, and the little one. Say hi to everyone. And unfortunately, it's time to go. Now, the reason we don't stay, I'll just quickly remind you all when there's not an adult, get back inside, is because it encourages them to come out at any sort of sound and any sort of sight if we stay there for a long time. And although vehicles are okay, vehicles would never harm them. A leopard, a lion, a herd of elephants, a wild dog, a neighbouring hyena from a neighbouring clan, they could. So that's the reason we don't stay. But it's sad they're all just sitting looking at us. But we just wanted to show you that they're okay, because I know many of you were concerned. There was mating lions in this area the other day, and there was a big male leopard. So everybody's accounted for. I think the adults are busy scavenging from all the predators around. They probably come at night time. And the two older boys, Ngwazi and Shimbulu, are getting much older, so they don't need to see their mum all the time. But that little one that belongs to Corky, he or she does. We're hoping it's a female, everyone, to add to the Djuma clan. If it's a male, no doubt around 2 years old he will disperse. We really need a female to actually, well, continue on the female lineage of the Djuma clan, and it's just very sad that we can't stay here, but it's a guiding rule that we don't do that, so we follow that. Of course, I can maybe come back and check them later. And talking of later, this drive is coming to an end, but our whole drive will continue, so you are welcome to go online, type in WildEarth into that wonderful search box, and you can still keep watching the drive. It will go on for another 2 hours. So I'm just going to give you a wonderful view of the scenery here in Djuma Game Reserve for that last few seconds of the drive, with the clouds rolling in. Hopefully it doesn't rain. So thank you everyone for jumping on board. It's been an absolute pleasure. Please do join us for the remaining 2 hours, and we'll see you on Monday. Bye for now. Welcome everyone, our normal people on a normal drive. It's fantastic to have you here. My name is Lauren. I have BK on camera this afternoon, and it's still not great weather-wise, I'm afraid. So just a few updates for you all I have, but I'm just going to remind you that this is your safari. So talk to us, please. Send in your lovely comments and any questions that you may have using the hashtag WildEarth on Twitter, or at FC on the YouTube chat stream or Twitch. We look forward to hearing from you. Now this morning,
Let's go to him.
make a live kill in front of us, and the internet, that wonderful thing called the internet, decided to die on us, so we couldn't go live, but we did manage to show you Tandy up a tree. I believe she's no longer there, and there's no sign of the kill. So as to what happened, I don't know. Did she drop it? It wasn't the best choice of trees. Did she drop it and a hyena got it? Did she finish it all? Did she drag it? I really don't know. But I know a few vehicles are investigating in that area. Look at the wonderful mess the elephants have made. But it was great to see Tandy, and her cub is on Djuma. We just went to the hyena den, no adults, but all 3 cubs are alive and well. So I'm not sure where I'm going to go. I'm just going to bumble and see what we can find.
And that there, that is one of the 2 biggest reasons why this pride need to hunt so often. He's just put his head up. It might be because of the wind blowing in the tall grass. You can see there, golden full belly. If you look at the rest of them, saw earlier that they don't look as full as this guy. I'm sure he had the lion's share, no pun intended. He's a bit weary, and in a way he fulfills his role well of looking after this area, and therefore after his cubs, which there are quite a lot of, and it will be well worth his while for his genes to continue. But the price they pay to have him around is to have him eat most of their food.
Right, good afternoon. We've got a drongo there, but the drongo is accompanying a much larger animal. It was very artistically done by Theo, who's on camera. And this is a large elephant bull. And Theo, I don't know if you knew this, but you can tell that it's an elephant bull if you look at that picture by the shape of his head. That's what makes it obvious that he's a bull. Well, also that, yes. He's probably around 30 years old, I'd say, and possibly going into must. He's sort of sneaking slowly closer to us. My name is James Hendry. I hope you're all well today, and as I said, Theo is on camera. Let's go back to our elephant. And let's see if he comes closer. He's very ponderous about his life at the moment. We would ideally like to find Tundi this afternoon, but you know, we may have to make do with elephants and the like. Lauren is just hailing me on the radio. Go ahead. I'm on Mamba, live. And what he's eating is a piece of Dicrostachys cinerea, or sicklebush. And it's an interesting one, this, because Dicrostachys can be a hugely invasive species in areas where there are no elephants. And here we have an elephant demonstrating why it is that Dicrostachys struggles in the presence of elephants. Lincoln, elephants can't strictly hear with their feet. They can feel vibrations in their feet, so we are told. So we are told that elephants can communicate tectonically. They're able somehow to feel the vibrations of their colleagues. So their colleagues stamp on the ground, for example. Apparently they can feel those vibrations and they communicate that way. I've read it once or twice. I haven't read any science on it, so I've read kind of popular articles on it. So I don't know if it's necessarily true. I mean, I imagine it probably is. It comes from somewhere, but not. Would we describe that as hearing? Well, I mean, I suppose it might be described as hearing. The little bones in the ear that pick up vibrations in the air from sound are doing much the same, I suppose, as the vibrations in the foot. So let's say yes. We're about to get a very expansive display now from the rear end of this elephant. He has warned us with a gaseous emission, I suspect shortly to be followed by a fairly substantial pile of steaming processed grass, twigs, leaves and bark. Maybe it was a false alarm. known as a ghost dun. Very nice, Theo.
This is absolutely incredible. Something that I don't see very often. Have a look at the birds on the back of those rhinos. Now, it's not unusual to have birds on the back of rhinos. We will often see oxpeckers on the back of rhinos, and those aren't oxpeckers. They're dark, and no, they're not a melanistic oxpecker, which would be a black oxpecker. Is two fork-tailed drongers. That's absolutely incredible. Normally you would see fork-tailed drongers sitting on the trees close to the rhinos. You'll see that with starlings as well, but you'll really only ever see oxpeckers on rhinos, and they're not eating the ticks like a oxpecker would. In fact, they're just sitting there and waiting. There we go, just swoop down. It's busy hawking, something known as hawking, and quite a few species of birds will do it, and they basically sit on the end of a branch, or in this case on the top of a rhino, and wait for any insects. And they're using the rhinos because the rhinos, as they start to walk, will flush out insects out of the grass, and then they'll swoop down, like you saw that fork-tailed dronga in the back do, catch the insect, and then fly straight back onto the rhino and start to feed again. They just did it again. That's incredible. Now, this is probably learned behavior from these two fork-tailed drongas, and I wouldn't be surprised if these two don't do it often. And then what you might find is other fork-tailed drongas might see these two do it and think, ha, that is a good idea. Let me go for a ride on a rhino and catch some insects. So we have a mother and a calf here. The heads are down eating grass, so we know it's a white rhino. Now that calf does look quite old, so I wouldn't be surprised if this mother either is going to go into estrus soon and mate, or maybe could be pregnant already. With a 16-month gestation period, she is pregnant for quite a long time, and that calf will stick with the mother through most of that pregnancy, and then not long before she gives birth, she will chase that calf away. Now, you'll see this calf has a tiny little horn, so it hasn't been dehorned yet, and we can see that the second horn is starting to grow. So I would estimate this calf to be probably around 1.5 years, also judging the height of the calf to the mother. She's not a particularly big female, so maybe she's a younger female. This could be one of her first calves, judging by her size. She's also in very good condition. Don't see too many scratches or scars on her. Sharanya, I couldn't agree with you more. They are unusual indeed. I actually think, Sharanya, that rhinos and hippos, I can't decide, probably more hippos, was where Shrek's ears might have come from, but maybe Shrek's ears were inspired by rhinos. But they are indeed, they're kind of like an elephant in the fact that they've got bare naked skin, so they're pachyderms, so thick grey skinned animals. Massive ears with a very, very long face, but with eyes very far from their ears. The eyes are closer to their nostrils than to their ears. And you'll see they're just having a look at us. Kruger cougar, I have actually in real life never seen rhinos mate. There are not many things left on my wildlife bucket list that I haven't seen in the African bush, and rhinos mating is not one of them. I've seen them mate before on TV and in documentaries, but I haven't seen them mate before. But what they will do, so the male will come up from behind and mount the female from behind, and often he falls asleep on top of her. It's a very strange mating ritual that rhinos will do. And I guess it's maybe because the male's just so happy that he's finally been able to mate. And the reason why I say that is that the female can make the male court her for sometimes quite a few weeks, even up to a month. The poor male has to follow her and court her, where in human terms that doesn't seem so bad, but in wildlife terms, most animals don't really need to do much of a courting process. Sometimes just a couple of hours or just a beautiful display, whereas with rhinos, the male has to trail the female, court her, and wait till she will finally allow him to mate. So I do hope to see it, Kruger, and hopefully soon. And what is very fortunate with rhinos is that they do not have a breeding season. So unlike most grazers who will breed, so they give birth during the rainy season when the grass is nice and green, rhinos don't have a breeding season. So they could mate at any time of the year. So it is almost always possible to see a rhino mating, although the period between when they mate and then they mate again after they have given birth is sometimes a bit longer than 2 years, a year and a half, 2 years. So it's not often that a individual will mate, and when they do mate, they don't mate very often, just a handful of times, not like lions who will mate for 4 days every 20 minutes or so. Rhinos will mate just a handful of times, and then the male is convinced or hoping that the female has eggs been fertilized, and then he carries on with life. And that is how it is for rhinos. The male has nothing to do with the calf. He doesn't protect it. He just mates and moves on. So Gina, a rhino calf, as far as being a female, as far as being sexually mature, she can get into sexual maturity around 6-8 years old, which is obviously quite young. The male, who would be sexually mature around the same period of time, wouldn't be able to mate, or physically be able to mate, but a female probably wouldn't want to mate with him because he hasn't proven himself in life. But as far as being mature within size, in their teens, that's kind of when they are at their full maturity with size and hormones, and it is also around that stage, so sort of teens going into 20s, when it is very difficult to start to age a rhino. A rhino 15 plus, up to the time they die, up to about 40, it can be quite difficult to age them because they're almost fully grown at about 15-20 years old.
We're still sitting with our elephant, and as Theo just said to me, it's so peaceful just sitting watching him doing his thing. That's exactly right. He's hardly reacted to us at all. He's just eating his stack of bush. And I like to think that he's enjoying our company as we are his. Possibly not quite as much. I remember once the weather was actually quite similar to this, and I was up near Letaba in the Kruger Park, and I came across an elephant like this. I was driving a little sedan at the time, and I remember sitting with him. It was a relatively rough time of my life, nothing that dire, but you know you have rough times. And sitting with the elephant, and I remember suddenly tears were leaking out of my eyes for some reason, and they were brought on by this elephant, and I felt so much better afterwards. And that's the kind of feeling that elephants give you if they want to. Aunt Christine, did you say, like elephants, will flapping your ears make you keep cool? Was that your question? Oh, your wrinkles. Aunt Christine, will your wrinkles help you keep cool like an elephant's will? I don't think so, Aunt Christine. You see, an elephant gets bigger and more wrinkly with age, you are probably getting smaller and more wrinkly with age. That is what happens to the human being. And in fact, maybe the wrinkles do mean that we get colder, because of course, as we know, a lot of very old people need blankies around the legs. I have to have blankies around my legs. I don't think it's because of my age, though. And so perhaps it is the wrinkles that make us colder. I think it's more likely a slowing down of the metabolism, but maybe I'm wrong. Right, I think that he has probably shown us his best angle, and he's now showing us what I consider to be not his best angle, and we'll move along and see if we can't find the cat that we seek.
And we've been watching them for a while now. There's still not too much happening. They're laying down in a little bit of a dip here. You can see not even their ears are moving too much. With the wind, there's no flies bothering them today, like it usually would be on a hot day. And some of them have got up earlier and went to go lay close to the others. Like that one over there, you can see there's a paw resting up against their head. Eyes are closed. A little bit of a shift of the head. There's another paw coming over. Looks like it's coming from the line behind her. Now, I've often noticed when they sleep like this, they don't always seem to notice, or maybe it's just so instinctual having other lions around them that they often grab the other lions' heads or bodies and kind of pull it towards them and keep them close by. You can see the two white ones off to the far left. There's one in between them as well, which is tough to make out in this long grass, but here we go. A little bit of movement from that one. And that's a young white female. Now, interestingly enough, the young male we saw earlier, he went off with her and they went off on a little walkabout on the nearby reserves. And since then, we haven't really seen him with the pride that often, but she's come back to stick with the pride full time for now. Just like her sister and the other young ones. Joshua, that's a very good question. I can say for sure that lions are not the ones living the longest, but which animal lived the longest? I think there's a debate on a few that people would reckon live very long. I know that there's some whales that's been so ancient that some people reckon they might be up to 200 years or more even. And there were even records of a whale that they found a harpoon tip inside its skin, lodged inside its skin, an ivory harpoon tip, and the harpoon tip itself was older than the novel Moby Dick. So that is also pretty old. Out here in the African bush, the oldest animal that we know about will more than likely, in this particular area, more than likely the leopard tortoise, or maybe elephants. An elephant in the wild can reach up to about 60 years of age, although that is very old for one in the wild. And then I guess another one might be the crocodile. The reptiles seem to be quite long-lived often. Well, we can see Don't look like there's anything that's gonna change anytime soon here.
Well, these elephants are not in long grass, they're in long bushes and trees, I suppose. They are not so far from Ndlovu Dam. We found them racing across zebra clearings, highly mobile, and we thought we would go and wait at the dam, and we waited and we waited and we waited until we looked a bit silly just sitting there by ourselves at a dam with nothing. And then we came over here and found that they're actually stopped to have a little snack on their way to the dam. As you do, if you're about to have a big drink, you might as well get your fibre in. So these elephants have just stopped here and they're busy feeding on all this green lush. Well, it's not really lush, is it? But there's a little bit of green in this little drainage line. We were just talking about it, Gert and I, how open it is. Just, a couple of months ago, we wouldn't have been able to see these elephants at all down here in this drainage line. It would have been completely overgrown, way too thick to see them. So it's amazing to see how open it is. I mean, you can see right through this, what used to be thick trees, to the other side of this little valley. There's lots and lots of elephants here. We didn't count them because they were moving so fast that we decided to just race quickly to the dam. But there's probably close to 30 elephants feeding around in this little thicket here, which is super nice. Jenna, you've asked if elephants can get sunstroke, and that's actually a great question. I suppose maybe not sunstroke as we know it, but certainly, they don't like to get too much sun. That's why they're in the shady areas during the hottest part of the day, and they'll make shade for their babies and they'll cover themselves in mud. Jenna, I think they probably don't like the sun very much, and like any animal, I suppose the sun probably isn't so great for their skin if they don't look after it. So yeah, definitely, especially with the change in ozone layers and the thinning and the excess UV rays and all that kind of stuff probably doesn't do them much good. So I would say probably they do get some sort of sun damage. I don't know about sunstroke, but sun damage for sure. It's a good question, Jenna. Keeping me on my toes there. You're going to make me do some research, aren't you? And I will. Check out. I've got this amazing book. I don't know if anyone's ever read it before. It's called The Silent Giants. I can't remember what the author was, but it's an amazing book. Loxodonta africana, The Silent Giants. Absolutely incredible. It has so much insane information about elephants. All about how they communicate and their social structures and everything. I was given it by a researcher when I was working in KwaZulu-Natal. And this person had been studying elephants their whole life and had written this book that was incredibly insightful. I'll have to delve into that book again and see if there's anything there about elephants and sun damage. Yeah, if it was a very hot day with not too much wind, these elephants would be in the shade just as they are now, feeding, but I think they've just come here on their way to the dam before they have their late afternoon drink. It's much later than they would normally drink, to be honest, and I think that's because it's so cool today that the elephants don't feel the need to rush to the water and drink in the hottest part of the day to keep their bodies cool. They've basically been feeding the whole day, and they're only now heading towards the water. So I didn't get the name super clearly there, but Atlanta Jewel. The average size of a herd of elephants is completely, I think, dependent on the resources of an area. Remember that they need a lot of food. So if there's lots of resources in an area, elephant herds can be quite large, or they can disperse quite a lot into be smaller groups. But generally speaking, I think the herd sizes here at Pride Lands that we've been seeing are somewhere around 20 elephants. So that's like 3 or 4 adult females, then their offspring, of which there might be 2 generations of offspring, plus a couple of young males that are in attendance around them. So I'd say about 20 is probably quite average. You also find in very drought-stricken areas, like parts of Botswana and Zimbabwe, the herds might get huge because they basically all move together from one food source to the next, which is actually quite devastating. A lot of parts of Botswana and Zimbabwe, you'll find a lot of the big trees pushed over, and there's not much large vegetation left because of those giant elephant herds. So Atlanta Jewel, here, maybe 20 elephants, but elsewhere much more. I just heard a bit of a rumble, and the elephants all seem to be on the move again towards the waterhole. So what I might do is actually swing us around towards the water to see if we can catch these elephants going to have a late afternoon drink, which would be pretty awesome. I think everyone would agree. Elephants are always fun to watch at waterholes. They're always very active. I don't think they'll go into the water because it is quite a cold afternoon, but they certainly might have a bit of a dabble, a little bit of a splash, especially if they're very thirsty. Especially if there's as many as I think, about 30 elephants, they'll be quite eager to get to the water's edge. You might find that all the females with calves will be bunched up together because of this wind. You know, we talked about how vulnerable and how vigilant they can be, and any of the young males will probably be a little bit more spread out. Cool. Well, whilst we do that, enjoy.
So we've just had 2 oxpeckers join the party, and so the one's just flown off onto the ground now. But if you have a look at the female, look at her left ear, so our right. Okay, she's pointing it backwards now. But there's an oxpecker with its body halfway down the ear. Now what is very interesting to note is that as the oxpeckers arrived, the 2 fork-tailed drongers who were sitting on these rhinos flew off. And you wonder if the oxpeckers don't get a little bit aggressive with them and stake claim to the rhinos. I can see the oxpeckers in the trees off to the right now. And they've been on these rhino for about 10-15 minutes that we've been here. And as the oxpeckers arrived, they flew off, which is very, very interesting behavior. If we look at the calf, have a look on. There we go. There's an oxpecker around the ear. So you can see the oxpecker got quite deep inside the ear. And the reason why these oxpeckers keep trying to get into the ear of the giraffe, not a giraffe, the ears of the rhino, is because the inside of the ears are very soft, and it is an easy area for ticks to be able to attach themselves. There we go. You can see the oxpeckers climbing back into the ear again, trying to get to all the ticks that are deep down inside the ear. You'll often see oxpeckers around the eyes of the rhino, soft skin. Around the nostrils also soft skin, and even around the anus where there's some soft skin. Ian, you asking, do rhinos get hay fever? I can't see why not. I'm not sure, to be honest, but I can't see why not. I have seen rhinos in the past sneeze quite a bit and sometimes get runny noses, but whether animals can get hay fever or not is a very interesting question. I suppose over the many, many thousand years that these animals have been around, and been around all the pollen and the grass seeds, you would think that they would be well adapted to that, and thus developed not to be able to get hay fever. So I'm not too sure. Maybe, maybe not. It is a good question. Now something's caused these rhinos to change behavior. So they were walking straight towards us, feeding as rhinos typically do this time of the afternoon, and they've all of a sudden become on high alert. You can see the mother facing our direction, the calf facing in the other direction, and I don't think they are startled because of us. But the reason why we actually came to this open area is that we had a brief glimpse of 2 lionesses, 2 of the females from the Mountain Pride, maybe about 800 meters away from where we are now, heading directly south. And this is south of where we saw those lions. And so maybe they've picked up on the scent of the lions. And a female having a younger calf would be a little bit more nervous of those lions. Not nervous for herself, because I don't imagine 2 lionesses or lions would be able to take down this adult female. But the calf would be most certainly vulnerable to lions, but not vulnerable if the mother is around. And this calf won't venture too far away from mom. But let's say she happened to pass away for whatever reason, this calf was left by itself, it would most certainly be vulnerable to those lions. And so I think that is what has caused them to become a little bit edgy. So who knows? I think I'm going to stick around here for a little bit, and maybe those 2 lionesses come out.
Welcome back, everyone. We are now sitting with the elephants at Ndlovu Dam, and this looks like a couple of the young bulls in the group that have arrived now. The rest of the herd, including some of the females, Just still slowly making their way. There's a bit of a gust of wind that's just popped up now, so it's a bit uncomfortable at the water's edge. So they'll take a bit of time. Notice how those elephants' ears are not flapping. Do you see that? Because it is very cold. Oh, and I have an answer for Jenna. Jenna was asking about sunstroke. I think it was Jenna. And yes, elephants can get sunstroke. Lots of evidence, especially in India, that elephants don't do well if they're very, very hot. That's why they often go into water in the heat of summer to try and cool off, or they'll find shade. So that's a real thing. They certainly can be affected by heat and sunstroke. These elephants don't have to worry about that. It's very cold. As you see, their ears are not flapping. They do not need to keep them cool. Those blood vessels are being held tight to their neck to keep them nice and warm. And they're not even stepping in the water, basically. I just see that one elephant right on the edge there, just with its feet in the water, but it doesn't look like they're wanting to go in. One of the elephants was actually hovering its foot over the water a moment ago. You know, when you want to test the water to see how cold it is, and you're just like, oh, just tappy your toes in there. But these elephants look like they're just drinking a little bit of water. No one looks like they want to go in there. It wouldn't be pleasant. Imagine now there's no sun to dry yourself off, and then you've got to go the whole night with this cold, blasting wind on your big body. Once that body gets cold, it's very difficult to warm it up again. But as long as they don't go in the water, they'll be quite fine. What is that elephant doing? It's rubbing its foot. What is it? It was very odd. Was it scratching its ears on its side of its head? I don't know what it was doing. It looked like it was doing a bit of a dance. He was agreeing with me, I'm assuming, when he was nodding his head. He's agreeing that yes, it's too cold to go in this water, far too cold. These elephants normally would drink, probably around about 100 liters of water in a day, maybe up to 200 on a very hot day, but now probably much less than that. They're not losing too much moisture through panting and through sweating, although they don't really sweat, to be honest. They can secrete through their temporal glands. Oh, there's an elephant trying to come over the log over there. That's pretty cool. Watch that. That's always so interesting to watch. Sugar Bits, you are coming up with all sorts of cool questions. Once again, I'm going to have to research this. The word elephant, where does it come from? Well, it's got to have a derivative of some sort, most definitely. But I would be lying if I told you I knew where it came from. But it wouldn't be difficult to find out. Sugar Bits, good question. Maybe you know, or someone who's watching knows, where the word elephant comes from. I know where the word askari comes from, which is the word to describe a group of male elephants such as these. And askari is a group of warriors, it's a Swahili word, and it's to do with a group of warrior men walking and protecting an area. So that's what these bulls are known as often, an askari of elephant bulls. I love watching them paddle the water with their trunks, trying to move any dirt away and try and get the cleanest water. At many water holes, when often in many reserves, water dries up completely, and so it's the responsibility of the reserve to provide water for the animals. So they'll pump water into some small water holes, and often the elephants will ignore all the... Oh, look, he's trying to get over again. Watch this. Watch how it lifts that second leg right up. Uh-oh. I've made a huge mistake. What do I do? Carefully. That's how you do it. Dorothy Ann, you think that word is based on the Latin word elephas? I think that was what I heard, elephas? Could be. I mean, Latin is the derivative of many of the words that we use now, especially the scientific nomenclature. Oh, Darcy Ann, sorry, not Dorothy Ann, Darcy Ann. Darcy, thanks very much for that. I'm going to do a lot of research every day on these drives. I love it when you come up with these questions because it makes me research things that I've never really researched before. So please do keep sending your questions to, if there are any kids watching, kidsquestions@wildearth.tv. And everyone else, please hashtag WildEarth or @FC on Twitter. Moonbeam, you're so clever. You're the cleverest. You say that the word elephant comes from the Greek word elephant, comes from the Greek word elephas, which means ivory. And that also makes a lot of sense. And these elephants certainly have a lot of ivory between them. All these young bulls displaying decent tusks. I was reading an article recently, in fact yesterday, about how a lot of female elephants in certain areas, especially in India, are actually losing all of their tusks. Many elephant females don't have tusks at all. And that's interesting. The article suggested that elephants are actually, slowly sort of choosing not to have tusks in a way. I don't know, that's not quite the word, but certainly the genetics for tusks is being lost. It's very interesting in order to protect them from, of course, what is quite a bad poaching problem in certain parts of the world. But these elephants are looking very strong and healthy.
What we've got here is a really nice colour palette, I suppose. We've got the kudu, and we've just had a little bit of light poking through the clouds, and the kudu mixed with the colours of the kudu mixed with the colours of the falling leaves above her head and around her, and the grass, as well as the sunlight. It's just very pretty indeed. Now she's looking intently towards the south. And she's been looking like that for about 5 minutes, which is a long time for a kudu to just be staring at something. And I'm wondering if she hasn't seen a predator maybe, but if she was sure she'd seen a predator, she'd go, yes, exactly, just like that. I think it's worth just sitting here for a little while. There's another one off to the right there that Theo's going to show you. It's also possible that they're just enjoying the sight of an elephant walking across the ridge crest opposite them. Maybe they too enjoy and find elephant sightings peaceful. In the background you can hear a fish eagle calling. Ngala, I don't know if I would say any other animals are fascinated by cross-species interactions. I think some animals show a propensity towards cross-species interactions more than others do, and I think mostly those interactions have got to do with some kind of mutual advantage. And a great example of that is dwarf mongoose and hornbills. They tend to hang around each other, and that's for mutual advantage. They either steal each other's food, or if a mongoose turns over a stone or something like that and something scuttles out, a hornbill might jump on it and grab it. Might also pick up some insects and other bits and pieces that are flushed by the mongoose, that sort of thing. And so their interest in it, I think, is born of a desire to eat, and possibly also a desire to stay safe, because sometimes animals of different species will hang around with each other for vigilance. But I don't think that there's a genuine interest or thought about interaction between animals. I don't think it's dissembled like you and I might dissemble such a thought. The thing about those sorts of interactions, of course, is that they take a lot of brain power, and while, yes, I'm sure some kudu are cleverer than other kudu, they are orders of magnitude thicker, I'm afraid, than human beings in general, and so their ability to have abstract thoughts, as far as we're aware, is very limited, if not non-existent. Alright, kudu, we're going to just sneak forward now because I think you've had enough of a look there. So I'm going to have a look as well. And I'm going to see if there's something interesting that you're actually looking at.
had a dismal afternoon so far, unfortunately. Our signal has been shocking. It's been coming and going, so that's why you haven't seen much of us. Luckily, we haven't been seeing much either, so it's been incredibly quiet out here this afternoon. But oh wait, there's some sandgrass, look there, on the ground over there. See them under this tree right here? There we go. Always something to see. Okay, if you go to the one on the left, yeah, that's the male, that's the one. These are double-banded sandgrass. And those of you who enjoy birds, this is quite a special bird here, for a couple of different reasons. So, one of the reasons, sorry, the female is just across to the right, by the way, she's sitting in the shade there. These birds have got an incredible ability to fly long distances to get to water. So they are super well adapted for these arid areas, and they can fly, some people estimate, up to 70 kilometers from where the nest is to water. And then the male, only the male, does what we call belly wetting. So he'll actually sit in the water, soak water onto those feathers, onto the belly feathers, and then fly back to the nest, losing, depending on the distance of the flight obviously, but he can lose up to 70% of that water that he soaked up on the way back. But that's enough to sustain those chicks. They can have 2-3 chicks. The most I've seen on a nest is 3. But the really cool thing about these birds, we've got 3 different species here. You've got this one, the double-banded, then you've got birchals and the Namaqua sandgrass. And this one is unique in that it'll only drink after sunset and before sunrise, whereas the other 2 species will actually normally come in anything between 9 o'clock, 11 to 11 o'clock in the mornings. So it's quite a marked difference if you take 3 very similar species, and 2 of them have got these strictly diurnal drinking habits, and then the other one, this one, the double-banded sandgrass, is strictly, essentially what we call crepuscular. So it's active at sunrise, active at sunset in terms of drinking behavior. And I'm not talking about its normal feeding patterns. So that was a lucky find, but otherwise I promise you the afternoon has been very quiet. We did that stakeout where the leopard is, but our signal was just, I should not say more. But these are really good birds to see. That was a fun sighting.
The elephants have arrived. So the whole herd seems to be arriving now at the waterhole slowly, not with the gusto that they normally arrive at waterholes, rushing in to get that cool water on hot days. They're slowly coming to the waterhole, taking their time. And look at that little tiny thing. So remember, the young elephants need to follow the parents, and they only can move as fast as the parents can move. So sometimes if they're thirsty, they just have to wait. Unfortunately, there is no changing the mind of a matriarch. So now we can count the elephants nicely, how many exactly there are. There are 4 bulls that we can see, although I think there were a couple more earlier. 8 are at the waterhole just drinking now, and there's a whole bunch more still coming. So I estimated 30. Let's see how close I was. And the one coming out there with the big hole in her ear, we all know that elephant by now. Alicia Keys. She's the presumed matriarch of this particular herd. She's not the biggest, but she definitely seems to be the oldest female in this group. In fact, she might even be the biggest. From this angle, we can see them nicely out in the open. I love watching them drink. So amazing. Marguerite, the book I mentioned earlier is called Loxodonta africana, which is the scientific name for the African elephant. Loxodonta africana, the silent giants. And a large part of the book is about their communication. Marguerite, I hope that helps you. Oh, look at that little baby elephant on the left of the screen there. It's trying to climb that little termite mound. I don't know what it was doing. It was scratching its belly or what. I don't know. It's a tiny little elephant. Let's see if it does it again. What are you up to? Are you just exploring? You know, babies they don't know anything about the world, and of course, I don't know how elephants communicate, But I certainly know that with pet animals, you've got to let them smell things and touch things and put them in their mouth. I think even with human babies, they learn so much about the world by touching things and putting them in their mouth often for babies. So this little thing, I think, was just exploring there. Oh, there's a tusk in the bum. Get out of my way. I want to have a drink. Look at that tiny little thing, sticking back, just exploring, doing its thing, sniffing around. Man, to be a baby elephant, that must be the best life. You've got all these powerful females protecting you, keeping you safe, feeding you, and all you've got to do is live your best life. Look at it. Look how tiny it is. That's the cutest thing ever. Minty Magic? I'm not sure what you said, but I'm assuming that you're loving this sighting. Yeah, it's a feisty little elephant. Super feisty. We watched one the other day that was doing all sorts of cool stuff. It was like doing almost cartwheels. It was standing up on its back legs. It was doing wheelies and was windmilling its trunk and just having the best time. I mean, the whole world is its oyster, so to speak. With all these big elephants protecting it, nothing needs to faze it. In fact, the other day, though, we did have an incident where we thought maybe a lion was coming up to this elephant pride, because at this waterhole, they all of a sudden started trumpeting and making lots of noise, and all the babies rushed into the middle, and all the big elephants clustered around them for about 10 minutes. Then they calmed down. We weren't sure what happened, but it's amazing. They all know exactly what to do. What are you sniffing there, little guy? I don't know if it's a male or a female. I only get glimpses of it. Roxanne, I haven't seen an elephant giving birth. I'd love to. It would be literally an incredible thing to witness. I have been around just after a hippo gave birth, literally seconds after a hippo gave birth, which was amazing enough. I've seen a giraffe also after it's given birth, but I have seen an impala giving birth, which was incredible. But I've never seen an elephant giving birth. That must be quite an event, because elephants are so communicative, so bonded and family-oriented. I would love to see how the whole thing unfolds with all the family meeting the new baby. I mean, this elephant is very small. I mean, look at it. Hasn't got tusks, still covered in fur. It almost looks like it's shivering. Shame. Poor little thing. And I think it's picked up a piece of... Is it picked up a piece of dirt? Yes, it did. It had a piece of dirt in its mouth. That's so cool. It's like picking up things and literally putting them in their mouth. So this elephant, I think, is probably under a year old, maybe even under 6 months. It's super tiny. It's just investigating inside what was probably a big elephant footprint, picking up all the little bits. Sometimes animals do get cravings that they can't explain, and they start eating sand and soil and dirt and all sorts of other things in order to get minerals. You know, we also get cravings often based on real bodily needs. I don't know if this elephant's going to do a headstand in a minute. Look what it's doing. It's literally just eating dirt from the ground. It doesn't really know how to use its trunk properly just yet. Coordination not on point. How cute are you? I just want to put you in my pocket. Honestly, look what it's doing. It's literally doing a headstand. What you got there? And baby elephants are literally the best creatures ever. I want to know if it was going to lie down and have a little sleep in that little burrow there. It must be much warmer out of the wind, especially when you're such a small elephant. Look, its skin is too big for its body. Look at those wrinkles. And it looks so soft. Look when it moves its leg. Look how the wrinkles just move so... Oh, it's the softest little thing. I want to squeeze it. They also have very sensitive feet. You'll see adult elephants often hovering their feet and touching things with their feet. We had one walk through camp a few days ago that was touching all of our tables with its feet. So this baby elephant probably also feeling... What on earth are you doing? I think it's... You know what? I wonder if elephants teeth. I'm assuming elephants can teeth. You know, at about 3 years old, we can see the tusks, but I wonder... It keeps picking up these hard things. I wonder if it's maybe like teething, and it's trying to rub its gums on hard things. I suppose sticks would probably be easier. I don't know. Man, you're my new favorite animal ever. Leopards were my favorite animal before, but now it's baby elephants. Don't you think this is the coolest little cute guy? Now what are you doing? Trying to dig. trying to loosen up a piece of dirt or something. Come on, you can do it. This is also really good practice. When elephants get older, they use their feet to dig up roots and bulbs and tubes that you're going to topple over in a moment. And this is quite important, behavior for it to learn how to use the different parts of its body for different things. Look how its ears are opening. It's getting frustrated. Come on. Oh, watch out. The elephant behind it almost reversed straight into it. Oh, the stink eye. The little baby was not happy about that. Listen, leave me alone. I'm playing here. Get your own patch of dirt. And look at the big female elephant coming up there. I wonder if she maybe just got close to this elephant to say, watch out. Moonbeam, you think it's tap dancing? It did look like a bit like tap dancing. Well, we know elephants are intelligent, and they definitely have a penchant for playful behavior and entertainment, so maybe we've got our next big entertainer here on Pride Lands. I can't tell yet. It hasn't moved into a position where I can tell easily if it's a male or a female. I kind of hope this is a young male. We've already got one feisty female. We don't need another Susan. You need to be another Akumo. HH, I agree with you. This little baby is not resting. It is keen for some action. Digging around, looking for things. An adventurer in the making. Oh, let's have a look. I think this is a young male. I think it's a young male. It's not easy to tell. When they're so tiny like this, it's not easy to tell, but I think it's a young male. Cute man. And there's a whole bunch of elephants now also dust bathing on the other side of the waterhole and doing a bit of tusk jousting. This is a wonderful scene. It's not often that we get to see this kind of behavior, especially on cold days like this. Normally animals are so still, hiding away from any of the wind, cold weather. But these elephants are just doing their thing. Rosemary, I reckon elephants definitely laugh at each other. When you see some of the things they do, it's ridiculous. This elephant here is getting a poke in the bum. I think these are a couple of males having a jousting match, playful fighting, practicing. And Rosemary, sometimes you watch these elephants at the waterhole, especially at this waterhole particularly, and they go for swimming and they do porpoising and their bums are sticking out of the water and they're just playing, and that's definitely just fun. It's just fun all around. Looks like maybe some of these elephants are going to start moving off. Oh, don't break that tree. Look at that elephant on the right there. It's digging around in the dirt. That's super odd. Sorry, I know I'm making you move all over the place here, but these elephants are all doing such unique and different things. So these elephants just here at this little grassy thicket were using their short tusks to dig around in the dirt. I'm not sure if they're trying to loosen mud or if they're just trying to get to some of this green vegetation. Elephants are the best. I tell you what, I know that often people come on safari from all over the world, watch WildEarth as well for big cats and all that kind of stuff, but sometimes, most of the time in my opinion, elephants are just the best animals to watch. They are incredibly intuitive, incredibly intelligent and entertaining, and they're always doing something. They're always doing something interesting. Engage 4x4. There you go. Oh, very boisterous, aren't they? Look at that dust cloud coming up. Still young bulls, not even near to their large size just yet, so still all very playful. But these bouts fighting with elephants can become quite aggressive, especially as they get older and if they go into something called must, which I'm sure you've heard about. When an elephant bull goes into must, it's in a heightened state of aggression, and that's when they want to mate. But these are just playing. They're not yet at an age where they'll go into full must.
The sun is poking out from behind a cloud and is shining upon our faces and upon a large herd of elephants, which are all over the place, and it's just great. There we have one cow who seems to be quite pregnant. You can see that swelling there. Theo, I'm just going to sneak very slightly forward, because I think you'll get a better view of the group on our right hand side. There we are. You can see quite a large group. Hopefully the sun will stay out, but I fear me the shafts of light will be short-lived.
Guys, we've got leopard! We've got a leopard. We've got a proper Kalahari leopard out here, guys. I am over the moon. I'm blown away. This is exactly what I was hoping for. And Davy and I took a huge chance here, big risk, coming back here, because this is where we haven't had signal the whole afternoon. And I just thought, well, we've got nothing to lose. If we lose the signal, that's all we'll lose. And let's just get in here and try get it. I am absolutely ecstatic about the sighting. Now, for many of you viewers, you will see tons of leopards down where our colleagues are working here at Tswalu. Here at Tswalu, this is a exceptionally such a over the moon, guys. She's going to come out to the left of that fig tree. You got a big fig tree in the frame over there. I'm going to keep watching, but I am absolutely ecstatic on so many levels. It's coming out there. You got it? Oh my word. Let's just see. I hope she might actually walk out onto the rocks in the open. Yeah, she's coming towards us. Oh my goodness. She's going to go stay. Thank you, Susie. Says I get 100 out of 10. I am over the moon. Oh, I'm even going to take a photograph. Sorry, guys. I just have to. Oh, I am absolutely. And to see a leopard like this in this environment is just off the charts amazing. David, can you come to me very quickly? I just want to, guys, I've just got to do this very quickly because this is how I feel right now, and I've just got to do this. This is all I needed. I am absolutely flabbergasted. And I was on. I promise you, I was so excited because we took a fat chance at it. We had no signal; it just gone, disappeared. And you might have heard earlier there was a bit of frustration in my voice about it. But anyhow, I just said to David, "Come, let's go back. We either bump this cat, get a bit of signal, and we win. But if you don't try, you don't win. 14 nihil difficilius. That's what it is. Oh my word. And to see a Kalahari leopard out in this environment, in the setting on these rocks, is nothing short of spectacular. So when I say Kalahari leopard, I'm just talking about the area, guys. This is the same species, leopard, that we got in the other areas. Runaway Pancakes has asked a brilliant question, and the question is this: are leopard populations in the Kalahari as high or as dense as in the Kruger? Not even close. The leopard density here is way less than leopards in the Sabi sands, for instance, where our colleagues are working in that Kruger area, and that's why we are so. She's going to stand on that big rock. Oh my girlie, you are. All my cat dreams come true. Yeah, so the leopard density here is much, much, much lower. And their territories are really focused along these hills. I'm absolutely, I can't even begin to describe now what I feel like. It's a good day. Let's just leave it at that. It's a very good day. And thank you for your patience in watching. I know sometimes I go off on these like little weird tangents and we don't find anything, but I do really enjoy trying to focus on a thing every now and again, and it's just really good job, Davey. Takashi moves. That is, look at that camouflage. Look at that camouflage. Pete Cantor has asked, is she nervous or habituated? This cat, if it's the one I'm thinking of, and I could be completely wrong, I've nicknamed her Wimbledon. Well, from many, many years ago, she got the nickname Wimbledon, and it's another long story. But she is super relaxed, super relaxed. However, I'm going to take a guess over here. Remember I mentioned earlier when David and I pulled in here, it was probably 20 minutes, 30 minutes before the drive even started. There was a brown hyena at the kill site that moved off very slowly. So brown hyena always outcompete leopards. Can you believe it? Yeah, we think of this leopard as this incredibly courageous, super. Oh, there's a brown hyena. Oh my God, to the left. Oh, there's on that slope, brown hyena. David, can you see it? You got to go left, down slope, go left. Just say when you got it. You got it? Okay. Okay, I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to come over there to your left there. That dark thing sticking out.
Yeah.
Okay, just sorry. Guys, this is nuts. That's what that leopard's looking at. Oh, I can't believe this. A leopard and a brown hyena in the same sighting. This is insane. Okay, now I can retire. There's going to be, that leopard will come down. But she'll be very cautious. Like I say, almost always, brownies will dominate leopards at a thing. And I mean, we've had, Genre and I, we actually had an incredible sighting, and it literally, yes, we were laughing and so bleak at the same time. We had a leopard with a cub that was treed by two hyenas, and it was probably 2 minutes at the most after the close of drive. It was just one of those crazy sights, and it was silhouetted against an orange sky on a dune crest. One of those like incredible sightings for like once in a lifetime. But anyway, yeah, so brownies can really, really dominate leopard. And I think the reason is not that a leopard can't stand its ground, it's just, well, why bother? These are past masters of catching any kind of thing they want, pretty much. From birds to insects, they've been known to eat fruit even, to large game, that kind of stuff. Lizards, snakes, whatever. So, and fish, they'll actually catch fish. They'll scoop fish out of rivers and dams as well. So why would a leopard actually even bother with trying to get into a conflict with a hyena over a manky old kill in a tree? It's like, you know what, you have your kill, I'll just set up a tree, mind my own business, and catch something later. So this is just, I have no words. So thank you everyone for your patience, and I hope that was just amazing, because David and I, we're not going anywhere, but yes. Roshni says Dylan is going to combust at this stage. Roshni, you are very right. Yeah. Okay, Mike has asked, so what is this brownie up to? Do we think this leopard has cub? I don't think this leopard's got cubs at the moment. Stands correction on that. But we know she's got a kill right down the bottom of the hill, which we'll see just now. And this brownie is obviously lurking around here because of the kill. But now, I can tell you how this brownie is so aware of that leopard and they're both very, very aware of each other. So there's kind of like an uneasy truce here at best as we're speaking. So I think, yeah, we're just definitely going to stick this out. So we are not going anywhere. David, unless you want to go home, are you tired? Are you okay?
I think I'll be alright.
David reckons he'll be alright. You see, things like this make it all worth it. I genuinely was frustrated earlier. I was like, no, this is not happening to me this afternoon. This is not comms, and it wasn't working. And then this. And it's just taking a chance. So take that chance. Make that phone call. Flip and read the book. Whatever. Get out your comfort zone. Just do it. It's always worth it. Man alive. I am a happy camper now. I'm just amazed. If you look at this landscape as we're sitting here right now, if I drove past it, you'd never know that there was a leopard. Like, it's just, and yet we know for a fact there's one there. And a brownie.
I'm quite jealous of that sighting. I love leopards and I love brown hyenas. We're sitting with an elephant herd, same elephant herd we were with, and they've just been having the most glorious time, feeding, with the light popping out of the clouds and casting golden shafts upon them. And those youngsters over there have been playing, wrestling with each other. Very special to just sit in their presence and enjoy. What you got there, Theo? The next one. It's quite a big herd. I think there are probably about 25 of them dotted around here. There was also one big bull in the background, but he's been particularly unconfiding. Let me just sneak forward a little bit. Yes, Arbed, you say you're all jealous of that leopard and brown hyena sighting. Yes, I don't blame you. Very special indeed. And I imagine in that landscape also a really picturesque sighting as well as being exciting. You can hear our elephants talking to each other. Every one of them consuming a phenomenal amount of vegetation every single day. That cow you're looking at is probably about 10 or so, 150 kilos every day she's putting back. The big bull, 300 kilos. And a good 2/3 of that, or at least 1/3 of that, is being returned to the earth. And so not only are they changing the shape of the vegetation through their devouring of it, they're also changing it through their fertilization of it.
Okay, guys, I just want you to have a look at this landscape and then watch when we zoom in here. Look at this. Look at this. Hey, my girl. Oh. Are there even words for that? Yes. Yeah, you got some flowers there, my girlie. Oh my word, yes, these moments just make it. I can't even say make it worth it, because that would imply that there's like something that's not worth it. It's all worth it. It's just every single thing. But like these kind of moments are just like sublime. It actually just doesn't need words. I need to get a dictionary of thesaurus, get some more descriptive. Yes, see. We're just going to watch her because she's obviously on. I can't see that brownie. That brownie's in the rock somewhere to our left. It didn't move off quickly. Ladybird has just made a very good observation that we never see leopards on rocks, and it's true. Most of the places, and not all of them, most of the places that you go, your leopards are typically riverbeds or padding down a road or climbing up a big tree, which in themselves are fantastic sightings. You give me a leopard anywhere and I'm happy. But this landscape at Tswalu with these beautiful, incredibly rugged ancient hills, harboring a species like this, it is so elusive in this environment, and then we actually get to see it lying out on the rocks like this, is something precious, and it is something that cannot be replicated. And again, you can't put a value on a sighting like this. You can't say that the sighting is worth X. This is eco-psychology at its best. This is what it's about. This is looking at an animal in its environment and just appreciating the absolute pure beauty of what we're seeing out there. Oh, big yawn, my girlie. Are you going to get up now? Oh, goodness gracious. I'm a very happy camper, folks. Yes, these rocks.
Almost aggressive, but not quite. This is an unbelievable sighting we're having here with a young bull. We were just going to leave, and he kind of came charging out the bush at us. So I just thought we'd wait and see what he did. And he almost touched my shoulder with his trunk. He's a youngster, so I wasn't particularly worried about him. And I just come onto the road, and he was kind of scuffling in the dust right below the bonnet, or what you might refer to as the hood in North America. Let's just wait and give him a second, because he's either going to finish eating here and just move off, or he's going to finish eating there, and there we go. That's what I was hoping for. Give us another little interaction. Yes. He could easily just go away if he's decided to have a little bit of a play. That was so cool. It was so unbelievably tempting when he first came up to reach out and touch his trunk. I could have just reached out and touched it. I shouldn't have, though, so I didn't. And if I had, I probably wouldn't tell you, but I didn't. That was just tremendous. One of those amazing little interactions that makes you feel super connected with the wild and part of it, and so deeply honored that the elephant has almost taken you into his confidence and decided that you're worthy of his attention. It's like, I guess, when a pet decides that you're worthy of their attention. It's ridiculous, but you feel honored by it. And there's a big cow just keeping an eye on things over there. Totally unfazed by our presence and the shenanigans of the young bull.
So we've left the lions, and along the way we've come across this red-crested coron that's about to call. Amazing. Look how he tucks his neck away. I think that was the general feeling this far today here on Ngala. With the wind blowing, it is quite a cool wind blowing, and those lions were all huddled together waiting it out. You can see this coron is just tucking his neck back. It's puffing up its feathers, trying to let some air in to insulate itself. And these guys can be quite tricky to spot. Like normally when you drive past you see them, but as soon as you stop they move off. And this one is sitting right out in the open at a prominent spot to call from and display. I can hear more calling further behind us, and I'm sure there's a bit of a competition going on. Now, for those of you that might not know, on occasions they call and then they actually do a display where they fly up into the air, and it looks like once they're up in the air, it looks like they actually stop with everything and then they drop straight down back towards the earth. Look at them go. You see, it's a very, very shy bird. It doesn't really like being seen out in the open. I can hear some crested francolins calling as well, and often the sound of other birds or other loud noises nearby might prompt this bird to call. So let's see if it calls again. It's just found something to eat. You'll notice as it walks it'll tilt its head to the side where it's looking for small insects, anything moving on the ground. There we go. A huge amount of effort goes into that call. Chest is puffed up. You can see the area around the throat expanding as it's calling. The reason why it would call is because this particular one is a male, and it is to impress any female that might be nearby. Almost looking around as if it's surprised that there's no attention being paid to him. They do alarm call. These birds certainly do alarm call, but this particular call it's doing now is a display call. And at the moment it's out in the open, it can see anything else coming its way, and there's nothing else around this area besides myself and Owen. So there's no need for it to alarm call at the moment. It's more a prominent type of call that would like to draw attention to it. In this case, the attention of females. I think we might sit with this coron a little bit longer, just to see if it might keep calling. It is coming towards the end of the day, and they usually call before the sun sets.
We are absolutely surrounded by buffalo. I can literally only describe this as a mega herd. Still hundreds more to come, everyone. This is just herd mentality. When someone gets it right and runs, they all do. They don't know why they're running, but they've got to keep up with the herd. Lions will be able to hear them from very far off. A buffalo herd can't hide from lions. Sounds are just incredible. This is one of the largest herds of buffalo I've seen in a long time. This is my Samara size. There's still a lot more to go. It's just moving. just about to ask you all who counted. I did not. Oh, BK's point. Oh my goodness, there's more. Definitely more than 100. Oh, absolutely. Definitely more than 200. Mega herd. And they're heading right to the southern boundary. There is no way the lions will not hear that. If there's any hungry lions around, their feast awaits. Wow. They've stirred up so much sand, the road ahead is just dusty. Lots of big bulls. Lots of cows, lots of youngsters. Man, you're saying you lost count at 634. Good job. You got further than I did, that's for sure. Good job. As an old boy. You see his hair loss, he's covered in mud. Looks a bit like a Daga boy. I think that was the last buffalo. Wow. I can't see anymore, but we are going to try and drive around and see what they're up to on the other side. We're definitely not going to lose these buffalo in a while. Oh, there's a straggler. So we're going to go around and hopefully catch up with the herd.
I think asking for a link. Hey, we live! Yay! We back! How cool is that, guys? So this cat is, I'm pretty sure it's the one I was thinking of, Wimbledon. Super relaxed. We actually just turned the vehicle at a bit of an angle. The reason we did that is, if this cat comes off these rocks, and it will at some point, if it walks down, we're going to get a beautiful view and then all the way down to the kill site out to our left without having to start the vehicle and that kind of stuff. So it'll just give you all the best opportunity possible to see this cat just doing what it does without us shifting and making noises. And you can just see us talking. When we turned the vehicle, she didn't even look up. So she's gone properly flat cat on the top of that rock over there. And I'm still completely over the moon, amazed, astounded. Just, yes, I'm a happy camper today. And David and I were saying, it's like, if we had to drive past now, there is no ways I would have seen that leopard. Did you hear that, David? Sorry, if you can please just repeat the question. It broke up very, very badly on our side. We are from the leopard. Oh yeah, from my date. Oh yeah, from my date, if that's what you said. We are from here, straight line there is 50 meters. And obviously, you know, I'm not going to drive, we're on the road here now, so I'm not going to drive off-road to get another, it'll take us another 8 meters closer, and that's it. But then also, if we do that, the angle already from where we are to her is about 45 degrees, give or take. So if we go there, it's going to actually push it up to like 50, 60 degrees, which means you might see the bottom of the foot, and that's it. So I'm very, very happy just to spend time where we are. We know we're going to have a great sighting. She is going to start moving, I think, fairly soon. But I think at the moment, after all this cold wind, it's died down a bit now. But this cold wind during the day today, these cold, I think she's just like absolutely reveling in these last rays of ancient sunlight on that rock. What a day! What a day!
I thought maybe Theo had lost what we had, but he hadn't. He was being artistic. There we have got a giraffe. Now this big bull giraffe, who's a magnificent specimen, is looking towards a hyena that's gone off into the bush in front of us that we were following. And I was following it in the hopes, of course, that it is leading us to some other form of predator. This chap looks pretty relaxed. He doesn't look like he's about to be assailed by any particular worries. It's looking behind us. Don't think there's anything else there. And the hyena's kind of walked along an old hyena path. And I don't know if he's actually gone towards anything other than maybe the water or that sort of thing. He's not going anywhere near the den. So we are going to follow once we've enjoyed our giraffe sighting. That was him watching a birchall starling fly overhead. Yes, Sabi, a tall, dark stranger. We know this one. Look on his back left leg there. He's got that great big bursa. He's had that for a long time. Doesn't seem to be doing him any sort of damage. Could be an old injury. Could be some sort of tumour. It's most likely an old injury, as far as I remember. He's very, very chilled out. Goodbye. Would be nice if you'd hung around for just a little bit longer. But never mind. We'll find something else. And now he's shoved his head behind a bush. Wonderful. And gone. Yes, Helen, I think we did very much get the cold shoulder. I'm going to carry on down along this hyena path after the hyena. It went through here. It will get very thick shortly, and then I will probably pull out, just in case the hyena is following up on sounds of a kill or something else. He went through here. I don't really know why giraffes have spots of different shapes and patterns. I'm not really sure. Do you mean the different subspecies of giraffe? That's a little bit more easy to explain, a little easier to explain, not more easy. And we'd explain that through probably genetic drift and sexual selection, most likely drift. And so what happens is when populations become isolated from each other, and especially if they're small populations, you have what's known as a founder effect, where there's some sort of characteristic that is not very common in the original population, but is overrepresented in the new or isolated population, and that look or shape of design of patch, if you like, becomes a lot more prevalent in that particular population. So that's probably why they look different around Africa. It's through founder effects, drift and founder effects, I would say. But I don't think that there's any naturally selective reason why they should have different shaped patches. Now this hyena has now disappeared into the thick stuff, and I'm not going to follow him because we will do an injury to this poor old car. So I think what we'll do is drive into the riverbed and up that way. That will be a better idea. Oops. So into the river we shall go.
This cat is just not going anywhere just yet, and it is the best thing in the world to see how relaxed it is. So I'm pretty sure this is Wimbledon, and I'll tell you a very, very, very quick story there about how she got her name. So this was a couple of years ago when she was actually still a cub. She was about 6 months old at the time, and I actually used to stay like kind of just down the road over here. I was watching the men's final between Rafa Nadal and Djokovic one Saturday afternoon, and anyway, I was watching it here, and there was a bit of a glare from the window behind me, so I got up to close the curtains, and as I got to the windows, I look out. Here's this leopard cub lying outside in the garden, just like staring up through the window. It was like almost as if she was watching the tennis. So I was like, okay, all right, there we go. So that was quite a bit, yeah. So that was her nickname that kind of stuck with her. But she's super relaxed. Why didn't you call her Djokovic? Well, that would just be odd. Yeah, no, Wimbledon is good. Oh, yeah. Kerry has just asked, can we please chat about the rock formations that we're seeing there? That is great, great. And I love that question because I am passionate about geology. Everything. I enjoy everything. But I really do enjoy geology because geology is really the basis of every single life form that you see out here. Adding in a couple of things here and there, obviously. But yeah, so these rocks that you're looking at here are what we call quartzites. It's actually, there's hard and soft quartzites, and this is a bit of a mix. And don't worry about the terminology in terms of soft or hard. I can get into it in a lot of detail if you really want. But it's quartzites. So they are metamorphic rocks. In other words, these were seabed deposits at one stage, layer upon layer upon layer of sand, just became compressed and heated over time. Well, it formed sandstone and then became heated and compressed over time and changed into the quartzites that we're seeing now. Very, very iron rich, and that accounts for a lot of that red color, that red staining that you're seeing on the rocks there. Just where above her when she's flicking her tail and below her there as well. So that's red oxide, so that's a lot of that in the rocks. But the primary constituent of these rocks is silica. It's if you're walking on the beach, this is the stuff that you're seeing all over, just in a broken down form. But yeah, these rocks are ancient. That's what they form part of what we call the Olifant's Hoek supergroup. We've just got a crazy bird that's just flown in here. Sorry, I'm going to get back to the geology. There's a lilac-breasted roller. That little bird, now you'll be very familiar with that from where our colleagues work out at Tswalu. It is an uncommon sighting. If a guest said to me, oh, let's go birding and can we see a lilac-breasted roller? I was like, oh, okay, there's areas I can try, but the likelihood of seeing one is very small. And geez, here at the Leopard, I think maybe someone from the Lowveld is like sending us lilac-breasted rollers and leopards. I don't know what's going on here. But anyway, yeah, so these rocks form part of what they call the Olifant's Hoek supergroup, and they are 1.6 billion years old. 1.6 billion. Correct. You heard me, not 6,000 years old. Sorry, yeah, couldn't resist that. Yeah, 1.6 billion years old. These rocks are incredibly ancient. And we've actually got all of the three major rock groups, which is metamorphic, sedimentary, and igneous, on Tswalu, which is that come out of courses, and they actually, as part of their field course, they got to do like proper mapping and describe all the stuff that they're seeing in it. So I do get exposed to it a little bit, but geology is cool. we've got dolomites here as well. That's always like one of my big dreams, is to find a cave. Faf has asked, how did the animals here evolve to blend in with the geology and the environment? That would be the same as any species evolving anywhere. That would be an Arctic fox evolving in Arctic tundra, or a shark in the ocean, you know, or a leopard down in where our colleagues are working. Or, you know, that evolutionary process, if you are slightly different and you don't fit in, you're going to get eaten at some point. If you happen to be one of the lucky ones and you actually blend in a little bit better than your buddies, you will probably actually live a longer, healthier life, and your offspring would do the same. So yeah, it's a very interesting question, but it's quite an involved long answer if I could get into it. Oh my word, I'm very happy. I'm almost as happy as that leopard. No, I'm happier than that leopard lying on that rock there. So Frisky says, this looks like a dream location for a rock collector. Actually, you know what? So Frisky, you know, if you're after pretty common rock types, or rock, you can even call them rock species, because rocks also get their scientific names in that. Yeah, then it would be okay, but it's not, in terms of geology, it's not hugely diverse in terms of the actual minerals. So, I mean, you can go to other areas and you can like just walk around, and there's like an incredible diversity of actual minerals all around you. We are fairly limited like that. So you've got this massive superstructure of these quartzites. You know, they overlying calcrete, the overlying dolomite, which is the oldest stuff. We've got stromatolites here, and actually I've still got that stromatolite with us here. He's here. There we go. We got these. I'm watching the leopard. Don't worry. We got these stromatolites here. These go back 2 billion years. It's thanks to these. Okay, this is a fossil. Sorry, a stromatolite is a fossil of an algae, and it grows those concentric circles, and they eventually die out. Whether their freshwater sources die out, or it's actually a mix between fresh and saline water. If that dries out, or they get covered by too much sediment. But it's thanks to these little guys that we've actually got oxygen to breathe today. So these go back 2 billion years.
Sorry about that, not sure what happened, but we are now in the valley of the great Mati River, and we are heading north into the thick bush where the shadows have lengthened and are casting a spooky light upon the road. There you can see Theo is shaking with fear as we drive through this ominous place. Ghosts might come from behind any tree. But ideally it'll be a leopard. You say you're scared. Well, you should be. This is a terrifying thing. I must also now take out my melted spotlight so that I can have a look with it. Oh, thank you, Karishma. You say I'd be a great voiceover artist. I wish I could convince people in South Africa that was the case. Yes, Sean says maybe Brent. this thing smells like burning, which is unsurprising. Sean says Brent is going to jump out and scare me. Now, I don't know. While I'm not looking at anything, I'll tell you this little story briefly. Brent was a long time presenter here at WildEarth. Now runs Painted Dog TV. And he once leapt out from behind a bush while I was driving along talking to you like I'm talking to you now. And I said a naughty word as a result of it because I got such a fright. It was very funny. Right, well, I guess this road is now not a road we can travel anymore. Thank you, elephants. We're going to have to try and extract ourselves. Extract ourselves? Yes, extract ourselves. Are you holding on tight there, Thea? Good. Me too. Oh! Phew! That was a big effort. We made it.
So I wonder if they can come to us. Hey, we live, fantastic! Because this cat has just got off that rock and moved down. It's going to start moving down further towards from where we currently standing. She is obscured by the grass and the bushes, but she will pop out shortly. You know, and even if we need to go, okay, there she is. Look out in the open. Oh my! Look how gorgeous that is. What a cat! What a magnificent animal. She's actually heading out to where the brown hyena went to. That's very interesting. That is because that's the direction we can't see. We haven't seen the brown hyena for a while now. But that's David, I'm just going to climb up here to see if we can get a bit of height here. But that's the direction that the brown hyena went in. And so she's moving straight in that direction, which is very interesting. Sure. Can you still see us? There's nothing here. Oh, there. Now it's back. Sorry, guy. I think we lost you there for a little bit. So she's just sitting tucked behind those bushes now. I think she's just keeping tabs on where that brown hyena went to. That's all she's doing. But she'll move down to the kill site just now. And that's exactly what I was hoping for. That should start. There you go. There you go. Sky says it looks like she's lactating, and great location for a den site. It could be. I'll have a better look with binoculars just now. She should be ready to have cubs, or if not, already have very small cubs. But she is remarkably well camouflaged amongst those rocks. Oh, but look at that golden light on her. Oh, she's going to come out now. Listen, she's calling. She was calling. I don't know if anyone can hear that. It's probably too soft, but she's calling. Oh my. Now she's going to come down to the kill. Now she's coming down to the kill. She's going to come straight down to the kill now. She's sharpening her claws. That's what she's doing in that bush. She's actually sharpening her claws there. But guys, how amazing is this to see a leopard in this kind of terrain? You know, compared to where we normally see leopards, this is just off the charts cool. I mean, what a background. I'm so glad that you all heard that, because I thought that might be a little bit too far for us. So, okay, and she's moving out again. She's really taking her time this round. There we go. Oh, look at that. That is magnificent. She's just got to lie down. So I wonder if she's not seeing that brown hyena up in front of her. I can't see anything. And I'm scared. Oh, there's the brown hyena is in front of her. There's a brown hyena coming out on the left. David, with all her hair, with all its hair sticking right up.
Is it in the front?
Go. Okay, no, you're too high. Come down. Down. Okay, go in. There you go. Left. Down. There you go. In the middle. There you go. There's the brownie again. So that leopard is exactly what I said it was doing. It was moving across in the direction that the brownie went. So that leopard is like, just is a very, very uneasy truce here. But neither of them will create any kind of conflict at this point, just because firstly it's extremely nasty terrain for any of them to try to get into a scrap over, and also there's not a huge point in it. The leopard could get injured, the hyena could get injured. They're both pretty evenly matched, so there's not a huge incentive for them to go for each other. But they are obviously extremely aware of each other. Yes. Days like this, some days are just diamonds, If we drove past now, I would not see either of those animals. There's no ways I would spot either of those. I think David and I, we're not going to go anywhere. We're just going to sit here. Those brown hyenas do look like werewolves. Not that I've personally seen a werewolf, but, yeah. Oh, wow. Well, a weird wolf. Just this golden light is gorgeous, Everything about the setting, these mountains, the animals, the atmosphere. Krishna asks, how do you spot animals that are camouflaged so well? For me, it's just mostly luck. I promise you, I go out here and I just enjoy what I see, enjoy just being outside, and then I just get lucky. Occasionally you see something, but but some guys are really, really, really good with it. For me, I just enjoy it, and if you enjoy it, I think you start getting luckier. But they are. It always amazes me when you go past these hills and you just think, how many different pairs of little eyes are watching your movements? How many ears are listening out for you? How many little noses are twitching and scenting when you go past? It's just what we see out here is an absolute fraction of what's actually going on every level. I'm talking about from like soil microbes going upwards, and I know that sounds crazy, but there are things that live under the soil that can actually pick up vibrations and things. There's these little soil microbes, and that even just walking close to them can harm them. It's quite interesting. There's a plant in the Cape Floral Kingdom called Orothamnus zayeri, a marsh rose, and it's got this incredibly close connection with these bacteria that live on the roots. But those bacteria are so sensitive to movement and vibration that even if you create a footpath close to those plants, it can damage those bacteria, and that means then the plant can also die as well. Anyhow, that's just a completely different topic, but it's kind of links into what you're seeing out here and just how diverse these systems are. Just to see a brown hyena like this, guys. And we know, I can't even see that leopard. I know the area that it's in, but I wouldn't even hazard a guess. For all we know, that cat could be like slinking forward or slinking down or... Ooh. Yeah. Okay, we're just going to keep watching her. Keep watching. Yeah, they're right together now. Just keep watching. Okay. Just keep watching. Okay, from where I can't see anything at the moment, but David, I think, has got it in the middle of the screen over there. Yeah, it's moving behind that bush there. Let's just be patient. This could get really interesting. I mean, like, more interesting. If anyone thinks this isn't interesting, you can leave the room. Okay, where are you little guys? But you see, this thing plays out every single day. This is playing out under our noses every single day, and it is unreal. So I'm just going to talk on the radio here quickly. Oh, just switch. Actually, David, you just keep an eye on them there, but oh man. So I'm so glad all of you got to see this, because this is, like, even for me, this is very special. Yeah, Gus, we're just on a live feed over here. Just if you can just switch off there, but just wait there. You're in a great position. And this is incredibly special to see, even for someone like myself. This is, yeah, you know, I've been 16 years. You got the hyena coming in the top there. It's moving straight down towards where that leopard is. Going over those rocks. It's actually stalking. Well, I don't know if it's stalking, but look at that standing out in the open. That is the iconic brown hyena shot that you'll ever see. The most iconic one. It's not going to get better than that. Yeah, everyone that's been watching, it's actually my turn to thank every one of you, because if it wasn't for you viewers out there, we wouldn't be doing this. So, no, huge heartfelt thanks from my side, and I know from everyone at WildEarth, all our colleagues, cameramen, the tech guys, the FC, you know, the directors, everyone. This is it's brilliant that you guys follow all this kind of stuff, because that enables us to do it. So, oh man. Yes, the night can only get better now, eh? Are you happy, David? Happy. I think we should. I think if you're keen, we might actually just extend the show by a minute or so, because I don't know what's going to happen here. It might just diffuse, but it could also just blow up very quickly here. So let's just see what happens. That hyena's hair is just standing on end. He is inching through that grass now, because this is such tension, yeah, it's palpable. And we might even hear that leopard growl. I don't know where the leopard is. I cannot see that leopard for love or money. Like, this is like nail biting stuff, this. Absolutely nail biting stuff. Man, oh man, oh man. There he's out again, look at that. Out in the open. He's out in the open there. Going to the right now. I think he's giving that leopard a nice wide berth. He's like, oh, okay. That thing has got lots of sharp ends. What a sighting. That leopard is lying straight in front of that brown hyena. I can't see it, but we know exactly where that leopard is now because that hyena's made a perfect circle around it, like an arc around it. Goodness gracious. Emerald says this is her first sighting of a brown hyena, and thanks for extending. Oh, this is amazing. You know, it's also David's first sighting of a brown hyena. So for all of you out there, and for me, I don't care how many times I've seen a brown hyena, every single time is as special as the first time. So yeah, we are all in the same boat on this. It is as amazing as ever. Yeah, I think there's not going to be a huge escalation here. I think there's kind of, like I was saying earlier, a bit of an uneasy truce here. The leopard's aware of the hyena, hyena's aware of the leopard, and never the twain shall meet. But yeah. Okay. So yeah, I just want to say again a big heartfelt thanks from my side for following us. This has just been one of the best afternoons I've had in a long time, and I've had a lot of good afternoons. But wherever you are in the world, please stay safe. I think this is not going to go much further than this. I think they're going to start parting ways now. So wherever you are in the world, have an amazing day, have an amazing night. Just take it easy, relax, and just think on how special nature is. And there's the leopard out on the left. There's David, far left. Okay, guys, sorry, we just got to get one more shot of this leopard. There you go, look. There she is. And she just wants to say, from her side, that you must all have an amazing evening. And that leopard just wants to say, from Wimbledon, thank you for following us. That is so cool. Oh my goodness. You've got a brown hyena standing here. You've got a leopard sitting there. This is just nuts, man. Have an amazing evening, everyone, and thank you again. We'll see you tomorrow morning